Today we're going to make a New Jersey favorite called Chicken Savoy. Here are the ingredients. Let's make it right now. Okay, so this recipe comes from the Belmont Tavern in Belleville, New Jersey. It was made by a man named Stretch. He was no longer with us. It's a secret recipe. So there's a few recipes online for it, and they won't give it out. So I think the interpretations are good. I'm doing my interpretation. I'm changing it a bit. The only reason I'm doing this dish is because we've gotten so many requests for it over the years that I'm like, all right, I finally got to make a recipe for this. And I hope you like this one. There are a few people already who took issue with the way I did it. They said I didn't do it 100% right, but how could I do it 100% right if they won't tell people how to do it? So I think you're gonna just, like, you could take what you want from here, and I'll explain the difference in a second, what a restaurant would do versus what a home cook would do, which I think is gonna work better for you. And I'll explain that when we get to that point. But I have 8 chicken thighs that I salted overnight and about 5 chicken legs. Okay, the recipe I said do 2 pounds of chicken legs, which will be about 8, but this is all gonna be good enough to get into a 14-inch pan. Salting overnight is good because the salt penetrates the chicken and it will taste more flavorful, a little bit more juicy. If you didn't do that, just make sure you dry off your chicken and season it well with salt and pepper before we do our initial sear. After we sear that chicken, we're gonna put a paste on it, and that paste is made up of 1 tablespoon of oregano, dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, and 1 teaspoon of crushed hot red pepper flakes. 1/4 cup of pecorino romano, and 6 cloves of garlic. We're gonna put in about 5 or 6 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna make a really thick paste. We want the paste to be thick enough, and again, I'll show you after, so that it stays on the chicken without falling off. This paste is absolutely delicious. I think, you know, during the summer, I'm gonna just grill up kebabs and use a paste like this for it. It's a really smart idea to do a paste with the, you know, with the pecorino, which is really the cheese of choice for most Italians in the New York, New Jersey area. Parmesan cheese in general didn't really get popular here until about 20 years ago. Mario Batali has a lot to do with that, but for the most part, people here are using pecorino romano for most of their grated cheese needs. So it makes sense that that restaurant that has been making the dish for like 40 years uses that cheese for it. That's part of the magic. Then the other part of the magic is the red wine vinegar. So I have 1 cup of red wine vinegar. I have a 1/2 cup of chicken stock, which is different than a lot of recipes. They normally just use straight red wine vinegar. And then I have a little bit of cold butter to make our sauce at the end, parsley for finishing. I'll go into the difference, what they do in the restaurant versus how I'm making it, but essentially we're making a sauce at the end, and they're not doing that. They're just doing it all in a much quicker way. But I think it's safer to do it the way I'm gonna show you. So you can make the paste after you sear your chicken, or make it now. We'll just make it now so I can get this cutting board out of the way. So the 6 cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon dried oregano, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, and 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. So 6 tablespoons of olive oil. Want to get the paste to a very thick consistency so it will not fall off the chicken. But if it's too thick, I'm not going to be able to blend it. You could also do this in a mortar and pestle if you want, but it's simpler just to do it this way. You might need just a touch more oil, just a drop more. So this is a little bit looser than I had it last time because I did use exactly 6 tablespoons of oil. This one's probably 7 or 8. So all you have to do here is if it's too loose, just mix in a little bit more pecorino romano cheese. And that's what I'm gonna do. There has actually been a pecorino romano recall, so by the time you see this video, it'll probably be taken care of. It affected a lot of brands, and whoever makes the cheese in Italy sells it to Locatelli, Boar's Head, and about a few other brands. There was like 5 on the list, which a lot of people think Locatelli, they always think that like that's the gold standard for it. But yeah, it's this brand that's selling to all of them, and then they put their label on it. And there were a lot of they give you the lot numbers and everything. But by the time you see this video, it'll probably be resolved.
Wasn't it just the grated?
Yeah, but it affected the 4 and 8 ounce containers of the ones with the label. Yeah. And it also was the 5 and 10 pound bags that pizzerias buy.
But if you buy a block of it
No, it didn't.
That
It wasn't
should
with
be
any.
fine.
Yeah, it wasn't with any blocks.
Yeah.
Yep. But a lot of people don't buy blocks of it. A lot of people buy the containers. Okay. Maybe a touch more. I want it to be very thick. We're going to let that sit off to the side. Okay, so these are already salted overnight. We're going to just put pepper on them now. Okay, we'll do the other side when we put them in the pan. So if you like main course recipes, which I'm sure you do because you're watching this video, I want to let you know about our new cookbook, Sip and Feast Family Favorites. It has plenty of main courses in there. In addition to that, it has all the other sections you would expect to find in a cookbook. It is a beautiful cookbook, 256 pages, over 100 recipes, beautiful photo, nice instructions, good story in every single recipe. It has US customary and metric measurements, so everybody will be able to follow along with these easy recipes. Right above you is the link where you can buy it. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all other sellers. QR code if you're watching on TV, which I'm increasingly aware that the majority of you are watching on TV. It's also pinned in the comments and in the description. If you don't like cookbooks, you just like watching our videos, buy it for a friend or family who does. Thanks. So I have my large 14-inch stainless pan that we're gonna be able to use this for the oven, and I think I'm gonna be able to fit all of the chicken in here in one batch, which is really nice. Now, if you don't have a 14-inch, you have a 12-inch, you'll have to do it in 2 batches. All right, since it's stainless, we're gonna let this heat up for about 3 minutes before we put our oil down and our chicken so it doesn't stick. Okay, so I'm gonna use a little bit of neutral oil. You can also use olive oil. Okay, so neutral just means something that doesn't have much smell and that has a good high heat smoke point. So now the skin side up is that dry side, which is the side we want to put down first. We'll let them sear and get crispy. We're gonna make them fit, even though this isn't optimal. I'm just not gonna do 2 batches for the last 2 legs. All right, so I'm just gonna try to pat off the excess moisture on the other side of these. So when I flip them, they'll brown a little bit too. Okay, Tara's looking at me with evil eyes, so I'm gonna wash my hands right now.
Better do that.
I want to get Officer
Sal Vanilla.
mad, you know. All right, so I'm gonna let these sear for about 5, 6, 7 minutes until they get really brown. While they're going, we'll just put pepper on the other side too. I said I was gonna say before how the restaurant does it versus how we're doing it. So I suspect they were starting with like already cooked chicken or close to it, seared in the pan, probably, or roasted in the oven. And then when they get an order, simply they'll just throw it in the pan again, put their paste on, and then they were using super high heat, like the snake broiler that they have, like that's cooked over 550, and a couple minutes, splash it with red wine vinegar, pull it out, serve it to the customer. But we're not doing it that way. We're taking from raw chicken, and since we're using thighs and legs, you really want these to cook to about 185 internal. So we're gonna roast at a lower temperature. The pictures I've seen of it from the restaurant, the chicken's almost black on top. Like it's really, and I think they use a whole chicken too, cut up into pieces. So this is like the dish, and I think it keeps the majority of the elements, but it is a little different. All right, so that's how it looks right now. We'll let them go a little bit more. Yeah, most restaurants, like, unless it's like super high end, they really want to get every dish out in 12 minutes or less. A lot of them like want it done in like 8. But if you go to like a real fancy restaurant, they'll let you know. They'll be like, this dish is going to take 40 minutes to prepare for you. There's nothing fancy about this, so this definitely is one of those quick dishes that a restaurant will prepare. Just like when they're doing chicken scarf, they have all the chicken done already. So everything just gets put together in the oven, super hot, put in the platter, served. All right, so they've gone for a while, maybe about 7 minutes. All right, so beautiful, beautiful color. And look, if you heat your pan up properly, everything's gonna pop right off like that without sticking. A stainless steel pan becomes non-stick really when you heat it up right. Now, sometimes on the side, you'll get 1 or 2 that'll stick, but none of these are sticking. All right, they're looking beautiful. We're gonna let those cook the other side for about 5 or 6 minutes too. I'm gonna turn off the heat. I'm gonna put a little bit of red wine vinegar now. So the recipe, I just save it all till later, but I'll do this way now. So a little bit of splash in here. I have a bottle, which makes it very easy. It's gonna smoke up once it hits there. Ooh, that smells so good. And honestly, if it comes out better this way today, I'm just gonna change the print recipe by doing that ahead of time, because it really does smell good. Now, if you don't have a 14-inch pan and you had to do multiple batches, you could put everything into a baking dish to do this. But we wanna get our paste on top of the chicken. So you could test one piece to make sure like that it kind of stays on, that it's not, most of it's not gonna fall off into the sauce. And just do each piece of chicken. Make sure you get some on each piece and then go back over them and top off more per piece. And this could have been a little thicker, the paste. So I have the oven today at 440 degrees. When I wrote the recipe, I did 425 for 30 to 40 minutes. I'm gonna do it today at 440 for about 20 minutes, and I'm gonna check it. I just wanna make sure my thighs are at least 185 degrees Fahrenheit internal, the legs too. Dark meat, because it has more connective tissue, is just going to be easier to eat and just a better experience when it's at that temperature. If you did a whole chicken here, you'd wanna cook only to about 160, especially for the breasts, because they won't be good at 185. But that's why I use the thighs and legs. I like them. All right, into the oven. Okay, so I did 18 minutes at 450. I actually changed it from 440 to 450. Your oven's gonna vary a little bit. I actually think it looks better the way I did it here versus in the print recipe. So I might change the recipe a little bit. It got a little bit more color on here, on top. Yeah, the thighs are definitely over 185. I checked a couple legs and thighs. So we're good to go. Honestly, it's delicious like this. It had a little bit of touch of the red wine vinegar. We're gonna make a real quick sauce for it. So we're gonna use this pan. Make sure you keep towel here to remind other people, because it's very hot. All right, I'm just gonna place all the chicken in a platter quickly. You can stick this in like a warm oven to keep it going. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just turning my oven off and I'm gonna throw this in there. So if you have a lot of fat in the pan, which I do, you could pour some of this out. You don't need all that fat. Try to leave all the good stuff in there still. Okay, we're gonna come back over to the heat and I'm gonna turn that to high. Gonna add that red wine vinegar. It's a cup. Half a cup of chicken stock. And we're gonna let it boil. We're gonna let it reduce by half. It's only gonna take a couple minutes. Now, if you don't care about all the chicken fat, you could also do this another way. You could just add all that liquid, maybe do it like halfway through, like the last 10 minutes of roasting, add it all into the pan. Everything will still stay relatively crisp on top because it's not that much liquid. And then you can just pull it out and then maybe you go from there. Okay, I'm just getting all these flavor bits into the sauce. Okay, if you have a stronger burner, you'll be able to do this in a matter of a couple minutes. You don't have to be super accurate. If you do want to be accurate, best way to do it is just to take a toothpick and see where you're at, and then go to half of that amount. This sauce like this is really good. Serve this with a loaf of bread to mop up the sauce. All right, that's good. Turn off the heat and just do a couple cubes of butter, cold butter. Go like 1 to 2 tablespoons. I have 2 tablespoons here, but probably just use 1. Put some of that parsley in there. You could taste this for seasoning, but you're not gonna need anything. Put a little bit of that sauce on top. If you don't want to get like it on top of there, but trust me, you do. You just pour it right into the bowl.
Oh my God.
Right?
Just the smell.
Basically, when I made the recipe, that was like a test run. Now it looks better. All right, this is Chicken Savoy. We're gonna have the taste tester come down in a second and see what he thinks. I know what I think. I wanna eat this right now. James, thanks for coming back.
Yeah,
People didn't think you were gonna taste test anymore.
No, yeah, I won't stop.
James, you want a leg or a thigh? You want a small thigh?
Take a leg.
You want a leg? I'm not a big fan of any legs, no matter what brand we get anymore at the store. They're like hit or miss. I feel like the best chance to get good chicken is normally with thighs.
It's very like lemony, I would say.
Vinegar.
Vinegar, I think it's acidic. Very acidic. Not my favorite thing in the world, just because I'm not a big fan of just like straight up chicken. I like chicken stuff like chicken with rice or like chicken pasta. But I've never been like a big fan of like the roast chickens and stuff. I do like a rotisserie chicken, but like this is my favorite thing. But it's still really good. I like this like acidity to it. Overall, I would give this like a good 8 out of 10.
You were dipping bread in it the other night in the sauce.
Yeah,
do you remember?
the sauce would be good with some bread.
Yeah.
I think if you like chicken, then this is a really good dish to make.
I knew he wasn't going to rate this one super high. We had it as a family the other night. Everybody else liked it more than you, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler, did you liked it the other night and
I loved it. Yeah, I know James wasn't.
Like, I think I'm going to like the sausage roll a lot more.
well, that's next.
Yeah.
So James doing another taste test after this. The legs the other night too, and just so you know, these are Bell and Evans, like they're premium chicken, and you know, I try every brand. They brought a new brand into our store now that's like supposedly even better. It's just, do you remember the name of that one?
It was a French brand.
French
I can't
one,
remember.
yeah.
But yeah, chicken's been
Yeah.
like, it's hard to get good chicken lately anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, probably the best thing to do with legs like that is to make fried chicken. You know, I think if I made fried chicken, that would probably be your, and that's regular
That's
chicken.
a different thing,
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, we really trust that you give like your honest opinion, and it's like, I think everybody wants to hear what they think. Thanks, James.
Oh.
And thank you for being here. We always appreciate you watching.